In the last video, we covered all of the lighthouses along Oregon's coastline. This time, we are going to give a brief overview of some of the places to visit along Oregon's Pacific coast. Everything from sea stacks, abundant sea life, an amazing museum, a steam excursion, and of course, a visit to the Tillamook Creamery. We even had a bit of a tsunami scare while we were there. All along Oregon's coast, particularly the southern and central coast, these rock formations, or sea stacks, are a common sight. Providing a unique habitat that varies with the rise and fall of the tide, these formations support a wide variety of wildlife. For every structure that is visible from land, there are many more just offshore, hidden below the surface, providing even more habitat for sea life. One of the more unique formations is known as the Devil's Punch Bowl. In this video taken near low tide, you can see people inside the bowl. But at higher tides and stormy conditions, the sea enters on one end of this formation, then blast into the sky. These same rocks have presented a real danger to ships in the past, as shown by the remains of the steel sailing ship Peter Iredale, washed ashore near Mossy Rock State Park back in 1906. One of the campgrounds we stayed at along the coast was Beverly Beach State Park. Set in a beautiful coastal forest, with this trail accessible directly from the campground, and easy access to the beach, what could be better? Well, one evening our phones went off, alerting us to a tsunami advisory due to a magnitude 8.7 earthquake on the other side of the Pacific. Murphy went on high alert, the beachcombers continued with their rounds, and the danger passed without incident. Depot Bay, allegedly the world's smallest harbor, and Newport Harbor couldn't be more different, and each are worth a visit. Depot Bay is home to several whale-watching excursion companies thanks to a local population of whales that have made the area just offshore home year-round, in addition to the biannual whale migrations along the coast. Newport Harbor is much larger and is known as the Dungeness crab capital of the world. Newport has an active and vibrant commercial fishing fleet, harvesting species including Chinook salmon, albacore tuna, halibut, pink shrimp, and of course Dungeness crab. What visit to Oregon would be complete without a tour of the Tillamook Creamery? Visitors lined up before the doors opened to have a chance to tour the facility and sample some of their famous cheeses. Our tour guide gave an overview of the cheese-making process and explained how the creamery, which is a farmer-owned co-op, began back in 1909 and has grown to over 30,000 head of dairy cows. This worker is inspecting packages for defects as they whiz by. Can you imagine doing that all day? Of course, there is an extremely well-stocked gift store to shop in. Even dogs and cats were not left out. On the way out the door, a stop for some of that delicious Tillamook ice cream is a must. About 10 miles north of Tillamook, we hopped aboard the Oregon Coast Scenic Railroad in Garibaldi, Oregon. This steam excursion runs between Garibaldi and Rockaway Beach every hour behind a steam engine that was built in 1925. The engine has appeared in 4 movies, including Stand By Me. The train offers a choice of seating in beautifully restored Pullman passenger cars from the early 1900s to converted open gondolas with wooden benches installed. Regardless of your choice of seating, the sights along the route are spectacular. Of course, Murphy was a hit with some of the children on board. Just look at that boy's smile. For the rail fans watching, here are a couple of Bud RDC cars which the railroad owns but are not operating at this time. The Columbia River Maritime Museum in Astoria is the official maritime museum of Oregon and tells the story of the nearby Columbia River Bar, often called the Graveyard of the Pacific. The Columbia River Bar is where the Columbia River meets the Pacific Ocean, and the clash of the river current and ocean swells have claimed over 2,000 vessels and countless lives. That's why the U.S. Coast Guard keeps a constant presence here and why the Columbia River Bar pilots are world-renowned for their skill in guiding massive ships safely across the bar. The museum's exhibits bring their work to life. But the story of the Columbia is much more than shipwrecks. The museum holds an extraordinary collection of maritime artifacts. Everything from ship models to century-old navigation tools. Fishing is another story central to this region, and several displays document its importance. Outside is one of the museum's crown jewels, the lightship Columbia. For decades, this vessel stood on station at the mouth of the Columbia, acting as a floating lighthouse to warn mariners of the treacherous bar. Today, you can climb aboard and explore her decks, both topside and below, to get a glimpse of what life was like for her crew. Our last stop in the area was a visit to the Astoria Column. Built in 1926, standing 125 foot tall, and decorated with a 500-foot long scroll depicting key moments in the Pacific Northwest's history, it was one in a series of historical monuments funded jointly by the Great Northern Railway and the city of Astoria. Brenda braved the climb up the spiral staircase while Murphy and I stayed safely on the ground, watching her join the tradition of launching a small wooden glider from the top. Well, that wraps up our overview of the Oregon coast. You can check out our video about visiting all of the lighthouses along the Oregon coast by clicking the link on the screen. Also, if you enjoyed this, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel so that you'll be notified of our upcoming visit to Mount Rainier and Mount St. Helens.